The best indicator for almost everything in the world is the ISM survey, the business cycle. The ISM is still not above 50.
Yeah.
And, back in 2017, it had come 50, but by about Feb, March, it really started accelerating. So we haven't even had a business cycle yet.
This one metric, which charts data as far back as the 1940s, is one of the clearest metrics in determining what's next for Bitcoin. Seriously, when this tops, Bitcoin historically tops, like here in 2013, like here in 2017, and like here in 2021, this shows the business cycle, aka growth and contraction in a market. Global macro investor Raoul Pal had some really interesting perspective on this. I'll share this with you. But where we are today, in 2025, we haven't even had a true business cycle yet. The ISM remains below 50 since late 2022, meaning the economy has been in contraction since late 2022. A reading above 50 indicates growth, a reading below 50 indicates contraction. And how you define this? What is the ISM? The ISM Manufacturing Index, or Purchasing Managers Index, is considered a key indicator of the state of the US economy. It indicates the level of demand for products by measuring the amount of ordering activity at the nation's factories. And you and I both know how vital a metric for determining demand is when evaluating the price of something or potential price. And when looking at the business cycle and what metrics are taken into account, the Manufacturing Index report outlines index movement for manufacturing, new orders, production, employment, inventory, prices, and backlogs. Bitcoin was created back in 2009 when the economy was experiencing severe contraction of the business cycle. This is the first of two clips I want to share with you today, so let's listen to about 60 seconds and then I'll react.
The best indicator for almost everything in the world is the ISM survey, the business cycle. The ISM is still not above 50.
Yeah.
And, back in 2017, it had come 50, but by about Feb, March, it really started accelerating. So we haven't even had a business cycle yet. Now, what's interesting is the best indicator of when you should be looking for a top in crypto is when the ISM is peaking, because that's when liquidity starts changing. Now, that happened really early in 2021 because of the pandemic. So it happened in March 2021. 2017 didn't happen until the end of the year. I think because ISM has been so low this year, there's a chance that this thing doesn't peak until Q1 2026. So it's a slightly different cycle, but we're just not even in the ballpark of looking for a larger top.
So my biggest takeaway to all this, and by the way, I'll link the full discussion down below, is everybody usually uses the halving, the Bitcoin halving, to determine when markets top. This is sort of known as the 4-year cycle because the Bitcoin has a halving every 4 years, which is a supply shock, which pushes price higher. But we know both supply and demand equally as important when determining the price or future price of any asset. This, the ISM, really shows the demand appetite in general, and the business cycle tends to be a 4-year cycle, typically, meaning Bitcoin's business cycle started here. Bitcoin was created here, but the business cycle started here, and the halving cycle started here, meaning whether you blame it on supply shock or demand shock, thinking Bitcoin has already topped today based on demand shock, not likely. Again, just based on the halving, we're almost 19% of the way through the halving. That's like buying Bitcoin here back in 2020, or buying Bitcoin here back in 2016-17, or buying Bitcoin like here